Welcome to the Programming Alliance podcast, where we are on a mission to build productive habits and mindset. And boy, do we have somebody who embodies that today. Sherman Perryman has joined us. Sherman has an extensive professional career, but has also started a number of ventures, most notably the Militant Grind. He has also authored a book and hosts a podcast under the same name. The Militant Grind looks at a holistic wellness for a person in terms of mind, body, and spirit. Sherman comes from LA. He is a husband and a father of four. We have a lot of values and missions that overlap. So we are going to talk about all that today. Buckle up. Let's go. Sherman, thanks for joining the Programming Alliance podcast. We are pumped to have you on and excited that we got connected to you recently. Your channel and ours share a common mission and theme, and so it's always great to connect with people who have similar purpose going on. So with that, maybe for the audience's benefit, could you give us a bit in your own words about your journey and what encouraged you to start the Militant Grind?
My journey started when I was a kid. I went through a lot as far as mental and physical abuse. And with that, I delved into my own personal self help journey. And through my self help journey, I learned to have empathy for myself as well as others. And I started working with other people, not really like directly, but kind of indirectly when it came to their mental health and the way they believed in themselves and things of that nature. And with that, I felt like I have or had a higher calling, which was to be an advocate for people or advocate for people, period. And I delved into finances and stuff like that. And with that, I help people with their own personal finances. And then I started to discover that people come to me for more than just financial services. Like they ask me life questions, what do I think about this? What should I do? Or, hey, do you know this? And I've just ended up figuring out that I'm just a resource that people depend on when it comes to just like anything and everything. Or they'll just admire the way I think about certain subjects. So then I was just like, okay, I want to start and do something that's impactful for people that I actually love. And that's when Militant Grind came about. So I've always been encouraged to start a podcast, be a consultant and things like that. But then after I got laid off for like the second time, I was like, okay, maybe I should start taking this serious.
Okay. Very cool. Well, we really appreciate the mindset, and we're going to get more into that here in a bit. But why don't I turn it over to the boys? Let's see what kind of questions you have.
Yeah. So I love football. Did you play like football because like you look like a beast?
No, I actually didn't. I did practice with the football players when it came to physical activity and things like that, but I've never played a day of football, unfortunately.
Wow. Well, you look like you got the build for it. I was showing the boys some of your videos, and there's one where you're topless and you look like a freaking gladiator. What's your secret? What's your workout routine like?
5 days a week, very intense, heavy workout. It's really just disciplining and challenging myself to just do better each time I go to the gym or to push myself. And I feel like that's the difference between like the people that just work out and people that go there to really push themselves to be better. So the more you push yourself, the more you're going to grow. And that's with anything, as far as school, work, physical fitness, all of that. So if you push yourself to be better, you're going to grow.
I love it. It may not show yet on their physical stature, but I've got them going to CrossFit with me, so that's been exciting, getting a little strength, mobility, and functional work going on.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
a lot of work to do, but they're obviously they're at a good age to start that kind of activity, so it's fun.
Oh, definitely. You have to start somewhere. I started when I was young, too. Actually, 14 lifting weights.
Okay, well, our next question is that so I've heard that you have 4 kids. What are some things you do to build a militant mindset?
I basically create a reward system for whatever I want to do that may be like good for them. Say, hey, if you want to eat, make sure you take a bath, put your clothes in a hamper, do stuff like that. So creating reward systems for things that they want is a really good way to come up with self-discipline. So say usually I'll have them eat dinner and then give them a bath and then they'll be sluggish. But if I say, hey, if you want your chicken nuggets, you have to take a bath, they're on it because they want the chicken nuggets. So you have to have reward systems for yourself as well as other people. And so I do that with my kids.
Version of that is where we either do the chores or we live outside.
So, Sherman, a father of 4 kids, what do you think is important about the father role in the family unit and being a leader by example and so forth?
I feel like the father role is probably one of the all-time toughest roles that anybody could imagine, especially a father inside of the home. Because as you know, you have to really be in tip top shape yourself. You want your children to look at you like a superhero. Like, my dad is the man. My dad is strong. My dad is tough. My dad is like Superman almost. And so I feel like in order for you to embody that, you have to have a wealth of wisdom, physical fitness, awareness, of course, finances, making money and stuff like that. And you have to be, and you're basically responsible for everybody, including yourself. And I really don't feel like people understand how tough that really is. Like, you really have to pay attention and be invested in so many people's lives individually. And it's hard to even have spare time or do the things that you want to do. For me personally, I don't watch sports. I don't go to bars. I don't go out. I don't do anything because I feel like if you're really invested in your family, that's a hell of a lot of work right there. I'm sure you guys' dad is always home, always around, you know,
Yeah, he's
always
always
present. And just to be present and not do what you want to do the majority of the time is even hard itself. You're sacrificing so much for other people. And I just wish that people understood like how much we have to sacrifice and put other people first and how selfless that is itself.
You wrote Grit to Greatness. Is that
From
it?
grit, yeah, from grit to greatness.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about it and who who it's for?
It's for everybody. People from all walks of life have actually read that book and been impacted. And it's just a short book where it's basically like, okay, what's the foundation of my life? What are my 5 pillars? Which is love, honor, strength, discipline, and wisdom. So I feel like with those embodied, 5, you make a fist, you have enough to go about into the world and just be successful. Now, I feel like if you just have those 5, that's enough because a lot of self help books are like, you need this, you need that. And I'm like, if you have love, honor, strength, discipline, wisdom, you could go very far in life. And then I give real life stories about me personally inside the book, as well as stories about famous people that other people could relate to in the book, just in case they don't know who I am. And it's just very interesting the way I just put everything together. Even though you do need discipline, if you have too much discipline, it could eat up at you because you're probably not getting enough rest or taking some time for yourself and things like that. So it's like, even though you need love, you need honor, you need strength, you need discipline, you need wisdom, you also have to take a step back and have balance within all of those pillars as well. So I feel like anybody and everybody could read that book and be impacted by the book because I was trying to keep it PG, but we have people from all walks of life that read that book, like extreme differences that read it and have been impacted by it.
In your book, you mentioned the 5 pillars, which are love, honor, strength, discipline, and wisdom. Which of those do you think is hardest to achieve?
Oh, that depends on the person. But if I was to pick one where I feel like a lot of people are lacking is love. And love is just also about self love. So, say if you looked at me and my stomach was like out this far and my cheeks were really fat and I just looked crazy, would you think that I love myself?
No.
No way.
Why not?
Well, because you're not taking care of yourself.
Exactly. But in America, a large percentage of people look that way. And so it's just like, where's the self love at? Why don't you love yourself enough to give yourself the best nutrition, the best food, to look the best, to comb your hair, to just self care itself? You know what I mean? One of the biggest problems is just that it's not that people are like hateful or they're this or they're that. It's really about them loving themselves, because if you love yourself, that will resonate with other people. If you wake up and feel good about yourself, you're going to make somebody else feel good about themselves. And if they come around you and they don't feel good about themselves, you're going to look like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you happy? So
Mhm.
I feel like self love, well, love is probably like the most important. And that's why that's the first pillar, actually, is love. And I feel like love is way deeper than what people just make it. And I wish people would understand that it was everywhere, and it's everywhere and all around us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this example of somebody who's maybe overweight and not taking care of themselves and interpreting that as lacking self-love is, I think of it sometimes as just discipline. Like they're not disciplined about their diet or their habits or whatever. But I think that's a really interesting way to look at it. And I think that's true. Like if you don't love yourself, you're not taking care of yourself. I often see discipline as one of those areas that seems to be more and more difficult for people to achieve in society today. People just have a hard time focusing and staying disciplined, and so many people struggle with it. In your experience, why do you think that is?
I feel like life is just a little bit too easy for people. If you keep people entertained, fat, and happy, they really don't have any willpower. Like, what really gave human beings willpower when it came to history is like being hungry, wanting more, survival. If we don't put ourselves in a position to like embrace those primal instincts in some kind of way through exercise, through running, through doing something, I feel like we're always gonna lack. What can motivate me to do anything when I can make money off the internet? I don't have to leave the house to get food. You know, nowadays you do not have to leave your home at all whatsoever to survive. And this has been
Mhm.
the first time in history where that's possible. Like whatever I want, I could order off of a phone. And I'm sure you remember back in the day being up late with your friends and being hungry and going through a drive-through.
Yeah.
Like there
Yeah.
was no such thing as like, unless you wanted pizza, you went out there and hunted. If you wanted to talk to a woman, you had to go outside. Like there was no, oh, let's
Yeah.
download this dating app and see what we could find. No, like
Mhm.
you had to work. Nowadays, I'm like, I have no idea how people are going to get the discipline to really just be all that they can be, period. People putting themselves in a position now to be in a lot of debt and just to impress people on the internet. Like it's really, really bad. It's like you're at these fancy dinners, you're doing all of these different things, and you know that you don't have it like that, but you're projecting to the world that you're living this type of lifestyle. I feel like that's one of the most dangerous things that's happening now. The desire to be wanted, looked at in a certain kind of way is really making people lack the discipline that they need to like really survive and thrive in the world. Because it's
Mhm.
not hard to look rich, but it's hard to actually be rich. You're skipping the being rich to look rich. You know what I mean? So no one has really set themselves up for the long term game, because the short term wins are just like so prevalent nowadays in today's society.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
That's we do have it easy. Society has probably never been more comfortable, easy access to things, food,
Mhm.
activities, whatever. And when times are easy, you don't have to struggle for things like you said. And so one of the things we talk about in our family is because we've got it pretty good. These boys don't have a lot of adversity in their lives.
Mhm.
And so we have to force adversity into their lives. And so
You
that could
do?
be working out, jumping in the cold plunge, or whatever forced adversity that we can create
Mhm.
for the lack of unforced adversity. But when those unforced adversities happen, and they will, we don't know what they will be at this point, but everybody faces them in their lives, and
Mhm.
some face bigger challenges than others. However, when they come, then you know you can overcome difficult things, whether it be a really intense workout or jumping in super cold water. These things, in my opinion, can start preparing you to tackle adversity. But to your point, we have it easy, and I think parents really need to think about how can they put adversity into their kids' lives, because it is so easy out there today.
Yeah. You know, no, definitely. That's what I was thinking. I remember having to walk to school at 7, 8 years old by myself, crossing big streets, dealing with strangers. We didn't have cell phones on us or anything like that. Nowadays, it's like you have a tracker on the phone to know exactly where your kid is at, what they're doing. It's just totally different. So what will give them the edge? Like what can I do to create some grit in them? Because that's created. That's not like given. Like the stuff that I went through growing up, I'm like, okay, I can see why I have it. But my kids, they are living a very privileged life, very privileged compared to the stuff that I went through. And God, so I'm like, oh God, I gotta do something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I feel you on that.
So, work-life balance. You encourage this through mind, body, and soul. Can you explain it?
Well, you have to take care of your mind, you have to take care of your body, and you have to take care of your soul. And all of that has to be balanced. So, in order to take care of your soul, you might want to read or look at some spiritual texts, religious texts, and things like that. Like, I have them all over my office just to keep my mind right. Some people go to church, some people pray 5 times a day or meditate. Whatever you do, just for a way to feed your soul and get connected and grounded, I feel like that's very important. And then your mind, reading, research, learning something new to enhance yourself and your business is very important because, especially nowadays where things are just steadily evolving at a crazy rapid rate, like something that's good today will not be here next month. So you have to really be on the curve. And then physical, you have to make sure that you eat right, you exercise, your body gets you releasing endorphins, you're just doing what you have to do just to remain human. We're still human beings at the end of the day. We're still mammals. So we still have to be physically fit, active, and things of that sort. So you have to keep all of that balance as a human being. And it's a full time job and it's a lot of work. And you probably aren't going to be able to do certain things just to keep all of them balanced. Successful people, like the real successful people, they will read one book a week, or some people read a book a day. So it's like either you're gonna watch this movie or you're gonna read a book. You're gonna watch this movie or you're gonna go to the gym. You're gonna watch this movie or you're gonna do more research on your business. You have to be able to figure out, like, okay, where am I spending my time? I'm sure your dad could attest to this. When we were growing up, there was no such thing as binge watching. That was, if you missed a show that aired at 4 o'clock, you're done. Like that was it. You had to be in front of your TV at a certain time. And if you missed it, you were done forever. So how are you gonna have the discipline to say, I'm not gonna watch this, I'm gonna improve on myself, my business, my spirituality? All of that is full time, especially as a man, because that's what's going to be expected of you when it comes to you bringing about your own family. All of those books you see behind me, all
Yeah.
those
Whoa.
medals, you see all of that.
There's a
I
lot.
did that for myself. I have books everywhere. I have another book. I need to get another bookshelf. But the reason why is because when you have children, you're going to want to teach them something. They're going to ask you questions, and you don't want to be the dad that doesn't know or the dad that doesn't have the wisdom, which is my last pillar. And the way you gain wisdom is by actually reading, researching, putting situations in your mind and learning. I don't understand how a man doesn't find the time to do these things if you want a successful and thriving family. But those three are a full time job, and I cannot see that being any different, right, Matt?
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you for sure. And boys, I think there's a really good lesson in there that Sherman covered, which was there's trade-offs that you have to make sometimes in terms of your personal journey, right? Do you want to watch YouTube or do you want to read something that you can learn from? It's important to have balance. You got to have some fun, but at the same time, you got to keep it in balance. You don't have too much fun. You got to keep yourself learning and growing and feeding your mind, body, and spirit in different ways. So I think that's a great message. We talk about kind of mind, body, spirit in our mission as well, Sherman, and I couldn't agree more that you've got to keep all of those things in check.
Okay. I have like a small follow-up question, kind of. So, I'm wondering because nutrition is high on your list to help with success. And why is that?
Anything you put, man, anything you put on your body and in your body could go to your mind. So your stomach is your first brain. Whatever you put in your body and goes down to your stomach gets digested and then it goes to your brain. Your body also needs minerals, it needs fiber, it needs protein, it needs healthy fats, things of that sort. So you definitely have to pay attention to what you're feeding yourself. It's more than just getting big and strong and things like that. It's more so, okay, how am I thinking? And also how you're looking, because what you eat also reflects on your physical appearance. Because there's a lot of people that you might see them like, oh, they're ugly or they're this and they're that, and in reality, they're really just unhealthy, and their body is actually letting them know that they're unhealthy by their physical appearance. Like say when people get acne or lesions on their skin and things like that, that's their body telling them like, hey, we're this is whatever you're doing is eating me up. So you have to change in some kind of way. If you look at people that are highly successful versus people that are not, I guarantee you they have two totally different diets for
Yeah.
sure.
Boys, you wouldn't pee in your gas tank, right?
No.
No.
Your car
no,
wouldn't run right.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, purpose is important.
hmm
How do you suggest people find their purpose?
Finding out what you actually love to do that could impact another person. So a lot of people may think that their purpose is to make a lot of money or to be this or to be that. And usually that's their ego telling them that they should be these different types of people. But you tend to learn when you get older, the successful people are the ones that are happy, that are living a fulfilled life and waking up doing what they love to do that can impact others. So they might say, oh, a teacher doesn't make a lot of money, but if you walk in and the teacher's smiling and they're happy and they love teaching their students and they're eating and they have food, clothing, and shelter every day, then hey, that's good enough. Like you don't have to be rich to be fulfilled. Like that's one of the biggest American lies that I've
Yeah.
come to notice. You could just be like, hey, I like to fish. I love fishing. And there's people that create a job out of that. Or I love to make people laugh. Okay, now they have a YouTube channel where they're doing things to make people laugh and they're enjoying it. Nowadays, you guys have the opportunity to do whatever you want and be able to exploit them just due to the internet and the market. There's a lot of ways you can make money or survive from doing for what you love.
Yeah, that couldn't be truer. There's so much opportunity out there today in this world for kids to bring their ideas to life, make money. We created this because it's really a hands-on way to build a channel, a community for the boys to be able to do that and experience what that's like, whether we succeed or fail, like they're going to learn. This could be just one of many iterations on things that they try in their entrepreneurial journey. So I love that.
Definitely. I'm actually working on my daughter creating a site where she could actually sell clothes to her classmates. Yeah.
Well, speaking of purpose, what do you think your purpose is?
My purpose is to impact other people and get them to believe in themselves more. I feel like I'm very good and talented at that. And I do it unconsciously, unintentionally. So, say, like, when someone calls you that you went to school with and they're just crying because they need help and they're looking to you for help, and you know that you could give them the words to actually change their life, that really affects you. Like, wow, like, I would never think that this will happen. I don't even know how you got my phone number, but hey, I'm here for you. I feel like that's more so my purpose. Also, entrepreneurship, I kind of was like, born into that. So so that as well. But then just like bridging all of those things together. Like I tend to love to do things that can impact and change people and get them to think better for themselves. I say on Facebook for years since like 2005, I would just write things on, motivation, encouragement, things like that. And I was really doing that for myself. But then I've also learned that with me doing that, I was helping out so many people. And I just had no idea that I was helping out others until they was like, yeah, I'm doing this because I remember you said this and then I thought this and then this happened. You never really know how you're impacting others by doing great things and just being the best version of yourself. So, Will, if you are the big brother that sets a good example for your young brother, Max will end up being a greater person. I have two younger brothers, right? And so my dad was hard on me because he knew that my younger brothers were looking up to me. And so I often say that anyone that like came up under me is successful because I was hard on myself and then I'm hard on them. So it's like if you're not great, the people around you can't be great. And you're doing a disservice to yourself and you're also doing the disservice to the other people that are looking up to you and looking at you.
Wow.
Amen to that.
Wow.
Got to set a good example, Will. You got a
Max,
big
Pay
responsibility,
attention
buddy.
to me. Pay attention to me.
All right.
Yeah.
So, can you remember any point of weakness in your life and how you overcame it?
You're going through a lot of stuff, right? You tend to take actions and do things that you think will probably help you. Say eating a lot of ice cream, you think is helping you and helping ease your mind, but then you got to take a step back and be like, wow, some of the things I'm partaking in is damaging me. Like I'm gaining weight, I'm not looking good. I need to get back into balance and the discipline enough to pick myself up. So say if you're doing something that's hurting yourself in any kind of way, that's not allowing you to be in your right frame of mind. Even though I think this is helping me at the moment, I know that I'm not in my right mind and maybe I should stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful about the things that we ingest, the things that we see, the things that we become a part of that have us escape the reality of being ourselves. As long as I just stay grounded, and this is one of the reasons why you have to always read, you have to always center yourself because the negative energies or the things that kind of made you be off balance is always there. And that's why you always have to go to the gym. You always have to read. You always have to pray or meditate or whatever you want to do to keep yourself grounded because it's easy to just get knocked off.
That it can be very difficult sometimes to hold yourself accountable. It can be difficult to be honest and truthful with yourself and remove the excuses. But ultimately, if you can have that tough discussion with yourself, like you're your own best friend, then you can force some change, right? With that realization and that self-awareness.
Oh, yeah, you definitely have to talk to yourself like, what are you doing to yourself? Look at you. You know better than this.
Right.
You always have to talk to yourself about that. Like, say if I go somewhere and I'm at a party and everybody's eating pizza and I'm the only one not eating, I'm hungry, but I don't eat pizza because of the gluten and cheese and all this other stuff. And I'm the only one because I don't eat that stuff. I don't drink things with high fructose corn syrup. So I have the discipline enough to be like, hey, look, man, I don't want to eat like this. Obviously, you should stop eating like this because you look like that. And yeah,
Burn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
So, what makes an honorable person? Example, like a famous football player.
I would say an honorable person is one that respects others and respects themselves, and someone that is highly respected and knows that they won't do anything to other people that they will not want done unto themselves. That makes an honorable person to me. Like if you honor yourself, you're gonna honor the way you do business and things with other people. Like say, I thought I was gonna be late, so I emailed your dad and I said, hey, give me 7 minutes. Then I ended up coming on time. But it's honorable for me to email him, let him know that I'm gonna be running late. So he's not gonna be sitting here like, hey, where is this guy? What's going on? What is he thinking? You know what I mean? So that's an example of somebody being honorable. Hey, I honor your time because I honor my time. So let me let you know in advance. Honor them the same way you'll honor you.
Yeah, that's good. Do you think in society today that we are making honorable people or villainizing them?
Oh, I actually had this thought today. I feel like we're villainizing people because there's really no grace these days. Back in the day, I feel like you'll be like, man, I understand, we all have tough times. But nowadays it's like, off with their head, get them out of here. We don't care. And it's just like, golly, can anybody make a mistake? And what's going on? I feel like people are more so becoming villains because I guess that gives people an adrenaline rush, and they might be able to make money off of the internet and have opportunities like doing pranks on people, going up to strangers, saying crazy stuff or doing crazy things. And it's just like that is rewarded. But then at the end of the day, I was watching this one prankster, and he was just like, he was at Home Depot and he was spraying water on strangers. And I thought it was funny, but then I started to think like, man, if that happened to me, I probably will go to jail.
I get very mad. I'm short-tempered.
Oh boy.
You are very short.
Me too.
You are, Max.
What's making these people do these crazy things to other people just to get notoriety or to make
Clicks.
people laugh and things like that? Clicks. Yeah. It's kind of like, it's insane, but it's like the more you're a villain, the more attention that you'll get. Yeah, it's kind of tough, man.
So, going back to your YouTube channel, what is your goal for Militant Grind?
To impact people and connect people from all walks of life. I have conversations with people from many different backgrounds. And one thing that we all have in common is that we all have internal struggles, mental health issues, people that went through a lot of things in life. And I'll just want to connect people on that level just to humanize other people and let them know that, like, wow, we are all the same. Like, I interview people from all walks of life, all different politicians, rappers, people that done wrong by people that's been into abusive relationships and things like that. I was just like, wow, like I enjoy having those conversations because it's like the way that, like, say that I grew up in a society where it was just like people separate, you tend to have these prejudice and ignorant ways of thought about other people that are not necessarily true, but
Mm.
you created them in your mind based off of television or based off of like somebody telling you stuff. A lot of us have more in common than we think. A lot
Yeah.
of us do. What could bring you together to somebody? Maybe you both like vanilla ice cream, and that's enough.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
This is
Yeah.
actually a great segue into the last question before rapid fire. The state of things in the country is really challenging and very divisive right now.
Mhm.
And to your point, we have probably more in common. We do have the same kind of challenges like, hey, how do I raise my kids right and discipline my kids? How do I better myself? What do I do about this or that? And I'm going through this. Maybe come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different cultures, different neighborhoods, ways of life, whatever. But the challenges we face are very similar. I'm really concerned about the degrading statistics on erosion of the family, mental health, physical health, faith. So I think about what can parents, kids do to build more productive outcomes for the next generation.
You really have to be careful about what your children see in person and in real life, because if you're around people that are married, if you're around other strong families, parents, fathers and things like that, or if your children are around other kids that have fathers in their homes and things of that sort, I say going to church or going to school events and things like that. Like, I live in an area where, I see a bunch of dads every single day. And I often tell my wife, I'm like, I didn't even know what some of my friends' dads look like until I was in my 20s. Now I go to like my kids' school and I'm seeing other dads there. We all know each other. We all have
Awesome.
each other's phone number.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's very powerful for us and for what the kids see, because my daughter, she's 5, she doesn't even understand how someone could have a baby without being married,
Yeah,
which is
of course.
crazy because if you go to where I'm from, it's a bunch of single parents.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Being the example is more so important than anything. If you lay down some type of strong example, then it's just like that's really on them at the end of the day. But I do know that these days with the policies and what's going on, it's easier for the kids to go the other way because it's not condemned and it's accepted more than anything. And I'm just like, what are we really standing on? I feel like the more these lifestyles and things are being accepted, then it's just going to be worse and worse.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's almost like we're overly accepting or normalizing, let's say, bad behavior or bad choices that don't align to what I would call like traditional values. A lot of craziness out there today to manage. With all that serious talk, Sherman, we're going to get into a portion of the podcast now called Rapid Fire. And this, you are going to love this.
So, we're going to start in 3,
2,
1.
go.
Excluding us, who's your idol?
I don't idolize anybody. I say
All right.
Jesus.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Coolest invention in your lifetime?
Coolest invention? Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, wow. All right, would you rather fight a 1,000-pound duck or 1,001-pound ducks?
1,000-pound duck.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
I
take the
think
big
you can
one.
wrestle him, yeah.
And if you had a superpower, what would it be?
To teleport.
Good one.
Have you ever been stuck in a bathroom without toilet paper?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the
Wow,
worst.
okay. Would you rather, for the rest of your life, be pure vegan or pure carnivore?
Pure carnivore.
Would you rather die to a great white shark or flaming hot volcano?
Ooh, volcano.
Yeah, it's probably faster.
Might be quicker, yeah.
All right, well, that concludes Rapid Fire.
Woo!
Thank you.
Wow. That was amazing. Rapid Fire, always delivering.
What are some final words or advice for GSD Nation and our community?
Strive to be the best version of yourself that you can be for yourself and also other people, because we are all projections of each other.
Okay. I love that. We're going to take that to heart for sure.
Thank you.
And where can people go to learn more about you and your Militant Grind?
MilitantGrind.com has everything that they need to figure out more about me. All of my links are there. All of my social media, things of that sort. On Instagram is my personal is Daddy Warlocks, DA. A lot of entendres in there, or at Militant Grind _
We will leave links in the description to Sherman's social media and his Militant Grind website, so hopefully you can all go and check it out. Obviously, he's got a lot of great advice and resources. With that, we'll close it out. But Sherman, this was awesome. We appreciate having you on the show. You brought a lot of great insight and perspective and give us a lot to think about. And we wish you the best of luck on your journey. You're impacting lives. That's got to feel super rewarding. And so we appreciate what you're doing, and keep up the great work. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for having me.
If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe, like, comment, share. It really makes a difference for us. Thank you. Until next time.